Hello, my name's Paul. I'm 58 and a half years old, and late last year I donated a kidney to a complete stranger. So I'll just give you a little bit of my history and my family history and what prompted me to donate a kidney. So I've got two amazing daughters. I won't use any names because my oldest daughter, doesn't want to be defined by her past. She very much lives for the present and for the future. But my oldest daughter was diagnosed with cancer when she was 11 months old, and she's 29 in a few weeks. So that is obviously an absolutely wonderful situation. So she was diagnosed with neuroblastoma when she was 11 months old, which is a childhood cancer. And I think when she was eventually diagnosed, after seeing many, many different doctors, she probably only had about a week to live. So I do apologise if I get emotional as I tell this story. No, I don't apologise. So anyway, we ended up at the John Radcliffe Hospital in Oxford, where she had 6 months of chemotherapy, followed by surgery of 8.5 hours, followed by another 3 months of chemotherapy. And officially, 5 years from diagnosis, being in full remission, she was then officially classed as cured. Now, part of that treatment and surgery meant that she actually only has 1 1/3 kidneys, or 1 1/3 functioning kidneys. And I remember when she was 2, 3 years old, going in every year or every 6 months for a kidney function test, where they put the dye and various chemicals through in her body and checked her kidney function tests and etc. etc. And obviously that was a major concern for us at the time. But as time has gone on, she is perfectly healthy with a 1 1/3 functioning kidneys. She's quite a party girl. She likes to live life to the fullest, and she's very, very healthy. So over the years, the sort of kidney thing kind of went to the back of my mind, and then I literally just saw a news feed came up on my phone one morning, which said the headline was, "Would you donate your kidney to a complete stranger?" And I read this news feed, and within seconds, I thought to myself, "Yes, I would." So I then began my journey. I told my wife, I said, "I'm going to do a really silly thing. I'm going to donate a kidney." And she was quite shocked and really didn't know what to say. Again, I told my work colleagues, my manager, because I had to think about time off, said, what would the time off situation be if I'm donating a kidney? To which there was just blank stares. But anyway, so I went up to the Churchill Hospital in Oxford for a sort of open day come presentation about donating a kidney, and there was families there. There was a father and a son, who one of them was donating a kidney in the future to somebody else. There were various other people who were thinking about donating kidneys to family members, etc. And I came away from that even more enthusiastic, if that's the right word, to follow through with this. So I signed on the dotted line. Obviously, did a lot of research, a lot of Google investigations into various things and the surgery and the processes. So then, over a period of about 9 months, I was up and down to the Churchill Hospital for blood tests, X-rays, CT scans, kidney function tests. I was allocated a transplant nurse who, again, I won't use any names, but the most amazing human being who supported me all the way through the process, including when it actually came to the surgery, to taking me down to the pre-op and to the theatre just before I had the anaesthetic. So we did all the tests, everything came back as positive, and I was given a date to donate a kidney as part of a chain, which would then lead to other kidney transplants. And then, literally about 3 days before, I got a positive COVID result. So that was cancelled, and then I had to wait. And I thought it's going to be another 6 months because I was ready to go. And in the end, it was about 6 to 8 weeks. And then I got a date for a single transplant to an individual. All the appointments were very flexible. I worked 3 days a week, so we could, between us, arrange the appointments on my days off, so I didn't have to have any time off work. I met the surgeon, the anaesthetist, psychologist. That was a very interesting conversation. I was expecting a sort of 20-minute interview. And he said, well, I'm going to talk to you for about 2 hours. And we talked about family. Obviously, this is to make sure you're not being coerced or you've got any silly sort of reasons for donating a kidney. That was a very, very honest and good conversation. I met various other professionals. Everything was very, very thorough. Everything was explained. The surgeon sat down and explained the precise nature of the surgery and the after surgery treatment, etc., etc. So that really helped me better understand what was happening and put my mind at ease of any concerns I may have had. So on the day, turned up to the hospital about 7 o'clock in the morning. Again, met with the surgeon and his colleagues, and my wife obviously came with me. And she said to me, as I was stood there in my gown and dressing gown, her words were, after the surgeon had spoke to me and just thanked me for what I was about to do, her words were, "I never realized why you were doing this until this moment." And that was a very emotional moment. And then we said our goodbyes, and I walked down with my transplant nurse through the corridors and down to the theatre, and then had the anaesthetic. And I woke up having donated a kidney. I couldn't have asked for any more support, to be perfectly honest. I'm, because of my daughter's history, well used to hospital waits. So sometimes you get there and you wait an hour or two for your appointment, but that's just the nature of hospital. But no, there wasn't really anything more I could have needed. So I had a few complications. So I ended up in hospital for about 8 days, where I think normally most people are able to go home after 2, 3, 4 days. Got to be perfectly honest, I was in a lot of pain, but again, very, very strong pain relief, which sorted that out. And then I came home after about 8 days. I also have been living with ME for about 20 years, so that complicated my recovery. The physical side of the surgery and recovery from that was about 3 weeks, but I did end up with sort of 3 or 4 months off because my ME, or chronic fatigue syndrome, as it's now known these days, that sort of kicked in, and so I ended up with 3 or 4 months off work, which was not a problem. I worked for local authority, Oxfordshire County Council, very, very supportive. Then when I did go back, I went back and did half days for 6 weeks. Again, very, very supportive with my recovery. And now I'm absolutely fully recovered. I go to the gym most days. I live a very full life. It's an amazing feeling to know that you've donated a kidney and you've helped somebody. One of the things that the various professionals talked about is contact with your recipient. I've received a thank you card, which is all I needed, with a name of an individual. If that individual in years to come wanted to meet, that would be absolutely wonderful, but that's not my main priority. A thank you card was enough for me. Even if I didn't receive anything, it wouldn't matter, as in I know I've done something to help somebody else. So day to day, it's not something I actually think about. I get emotionally occasionally if I do think about it, but it's not something I go around with a badge on to say I donated a kidney. Obviously, my work colleagues were fully aware, and I had some very, very nice messages, talks, chats, meetings with various people I work with. As in, I'm not an egotistical person. A lot of my friends who I know don't even know. I haven't gone around saying, I donated a kidney, look at me, aren't I wonderful, or anything like that. So a lot of my friends and even some family members don't actually know that I donated a kidney. That's just my own personal choice. It does change you. It does change your outlook on life. But going back to my daughter's cancer treatment, that changed my outlook on life. So from the last 28 years, I've very much lived for the moment and lived for the day and enjoy life and all it has to offer. Every single day, you wake up and it's another wonderful day to look forward to. So this is on a similar vein. It does give you a very nice feeling of well-being. So yeah, if anybody's watching this and wondering why people donate kidneys. As I was recovering on the ward, the curtains were separating, so I just heard this chap's voice most of the time, and he had just received a kidney and he was waiting to go home, and he knew that I donated a kidney, and he said to me through the curtains, we only saw each other once, I think, through the curtains, he was phoning his kids and saying, hopefully I'll be home tomorrow, hopefully I'll be home tomorrow, and they kept delaying it just to obviously make sure everything was okay. And then he just said to me through the curtains again one day, I'm going home later today, but I haven't told my children. I'm just going to go home and surprise them. And as he was leaving, he just poked his head around the curtain and said, is it, okay just to say thank you? And he said, is it all right if I touch you? And we just held hands and shed a tear together. And I just said to him, just go home and hug your children. So if there's any doubt, which there wasn't, as to why I did what I did, then that really sums it up. So.